Topping Talks. 105 hours a week, can't be beat. Welcome to Topping Talks. Topping Talks is a Topping Tribune production, and today's episode is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies and ExpressVPN. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I have to say, he's quite handsome and brilliant. If you're a business in Texas that could use a hand, reach out to us at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, are you part of the 3.6% of Americans who still care about their privacy? If you are, then perfect. ExpressVPN can assist. Even though 96% of stats are made up on the spot, ExpressVPN does give a 100% guarantee with their 30-day money-back guarantee. Description in the link, as well as registration link. Now, without further ado, I'm proud to say I'm interviewing one of my old friends and clients, David Fisher, who is the current IT Services and Infrastructure Manager at Interstate Batteries.
Howdy. Well, happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on the show, David. I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been quite a few years since we met each other.
Yeah, it has. Good years.
All right, exactly. You still got the clock, out of curiosity?
I do.
Yep. One of my favorite recycle projects. So I know it's kind of cliche to ask, but how did you first get into IT?
Yeah, so actually, I went to college for biology, majored in biology, minored in chemistry, and was living in Chicago, and a friend of mine had a girlfriend living down here in Dallas, and he was living with a couple other guys, and they had a spare bedroom, and so they offered it to me for $100 a month. So I moved from Chicago and kind of said goodbye to my biology days, and actually moved down here. And actually, my first job was with Abbott Labs down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a contractor for a little bit.
What did you do?
Just lots of sample testing and just basic research. But a guy I was going to church with had made good friends with. He was like, "Well, there's an opening at EDS, and would you be interested in it? You want not to be a contractor. You could have benefits." And I said, "Yeah, I'll go interview for it and see if they want me." And sure enough, they hired me, because back in the late '90s, you just needed to, be kind of smart and be good with computers. You didn't really need to have much experience. So, and so I got my start as a tape monkey, moving tapes in and out of the tape robot and monitoring the backups. Did that for like 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
So
What kind of tapes were they? Were they the LTO kind of ones that are kind of shaped like a floppy disk in orientation, or were they real?
Yeah, they're the big square thick ones, and they were like LTO 2 and 3.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, now we're on like 7 and 8. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a while back.
That's awesome. So was that specifically with EDS, or is that for a specific EDS contract? Because I know that they're one of the largest consulting firms in Texas and the U.S. or world for a while.
Yeah, for a while. I actually never worked at the main building for EDS.
Mm-hmm.
They hired me to do a job at Fujitsu Network Communications, and so the only time I ever went to the EDS main building was if there was some required training, or if I needed to do something in terms of like maybe a new EDS badge or something like that. But 99% of my days were spent at Fujitsu Network Communications, even though I worked for EDS. So.
Oh, awesome. So kind of an on-site job or
Mm-hmm.
on. Oh, okay. And that's amazing. So a lot of people don't know how diversified and large Fujitsu is. Like when I was a kid, or even now, if I ask my parents, like, "Oh, yeah, Fujitsu," they would say, "Oh, yeah, disposable camera company from the 90s. It's like, oh, no, they do a lot.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, I never saw any cameras or, TVs or anything like that. I only saw, I didn't see much of it, but they had a lot of network equipment, because they were a competitor of like Nortel and, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And, all those companies fell in hard times after the dot-com boom and 9/11. But yeah, so they just their bread and butter. Well, I mean, they were Fujitsu Network Communications, so it was all about network communications. Anything you needed to have a network connection, they would make it. So
That's awesome. And then what inspired you to move on to your next role?
Well, I don't know if inspiration is the right word. I was forced
Oh,
to, yeah. So, 12 years in, I was notified that in 2 months I would lose my job. And so I started looking, and I was only out of work for 3 days.
that's it?
And yeah, I started working at Dallas Morning News.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, so I guess officially I worked for AHBLO,
Right.
which was the newspaper side of the BLO company, because they have a TV channel too.
Yeah.
Um, so I did their Active Directory, monitoring, adminning, um, and then some email, some Exchange admin too work. So, um, but yeah, so that I did that for a couple of years. Um,
That's awesome. And that a lot of people don't know the massive infrastructure and all the things that go behind the scenes to actually make a media company or a newspaper come together and work.
yep, yeah, that's true.
And then what inspired you to move on to your next role and, join the infamous Interstate Batteries?
Yep. Well, I liked the people at Dallas Morning News, and I wasn't treated badly or anything, but um, I just got I wasn't looking for a job. I got a random letter from a recruiter one morning, and I read it to my wife, and the letter read something like, we are looking for candidates for a systems administration job for a battery company at 635 and 75, and my wife was like, if that's Interstate Batteries, you have to apply, because my wife and I are strong Christians, and Interstate Batteries is a faith-based company. And so I did apply, and I got the job, and it was kind of sad to tell Dallas Morning News goodbye, and even a guy I had brought in to work with me, who I knew was good and was enjoying working with, have always enjoyed work with. I had to tell him, hey, I'm moving on, so that wasn't fun. But Interstate Batteries has been good to me. I started as a systems engineer, working mostly Active Directory and VMware.
Nice.
As the years went on, I took on Citrix, took on some Exchange responsibilities, lots of server hardware, data center responsibilities. And after a few years, I had kind of become the I don't know, unspoken leader of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And my boss, which was the leader and title of the team, moved on to a different position. So I gave them my resume to consider me for the manager position, and they gave me a chance, and that's where I've been for the last 7 years. Now, granted, when I started 7 years ago, I only had 5 people. But then a few months later, I had 4 more people added to my team. And then a year after that, I had 3 more people added to my team, because I started as the server manager,
Mm-hmm.
server team manager, and then I became the server database and storage manager. And then finally, I became the server database storage and network team manager. And so that's where I sat, because at that point I had I couldn't take on any more. It was definitely enough. So, but yeah, that's kind of the story. It's been a good place to work. I don't have anything bad to say about them. So
That's a great story. I mean, that a lot of people, they don't realize. I mean, that's realistically how you get the next job titles. You got to do the responsibilities first and strive to get it, and eventually you're going to make it.
right, yeah. In my experience, if you want that promotion, you need to be doing the work required of the promotion you're looking for before you get it.
Absolutely. That's what it seems to be throughout every industry. It's pretty consistent.
Yep.
Now, what are some of the maybe biggest or maybe unique challenges during the first couple of years when you're working there?
Well, I would say during the first couple of years, the biggest challenge was um, they were more of a mom and pop shop mentality.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of they needed to modernize. They still had Windows NT servers.
Oh,
They
wow.
still had, they actually had a Windows 98 server that they were using. And so we had to just modernize, and they weren't heavily virtualized. I mean, we went from like probably 70% virtualized to 95% virtualized since when I came on board. They just they've come a long way as far as being as far as their infrastructure being a lot stronger, more modern, more reliable. In the last couple of years, no, the last year, we finally got disaster recovery. And when I started, that was one of the things that I mentioned. I couldn't believe that they didn't have it.
Yeah.
But you know, it was rejected for budgetary reasons for many years, and finally, they said yes. So that was a big accomplishment. But yeah, there's been lots of accomplishments along the way. But to stick to your question, I mean, I think the biggest challenge was just modernization and reliability of their infrastructure. They just weren't there. So.
Yep. That's a big transformation. And I love the seamless interaction you have when you're visiting the office. I mean, just signing on to the Wi-Fi is just quick, secure. It's easy.
Yep.
Just makes it everyone's life just so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. The network piece has come a long way as well. We're actually a Juniper shop, which is a little bit unusual, but you know, it does what we need it to do. Mm-hmm. It's not as expensive as Cisco. It's just as reliable. It has the same functionality. So.
Absolutely. They got great ROI. I know they're really big. They're growing ever more in the public sector as well.
Yep.
A lot of schools are starting to use them, especially since they acquired Mist Systems. I think that was maybe 2 years ago.
Yep.
For their wireless capabilities. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just a plug, but I know Aston Martin, I might have to check that, though. I'm sure they're the official network of that company.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually switching to Mist from Aruba.
Oh, wow.
So, and we're doing that once we move into our new location, which is at the end of August. And so when we're in our new location, we'll be using Juniper Mist. Very impressed with the product. Haven't actually used it, but you know, everything that we have read and learned about it sounds very good, and it is a little bit of a cost savings over Aruba. So,
what was the most compelling reason to switch over to them from Aruba for the Mist wireless? Or what stood out the most for you personally?
Probably the ability to automate. They have built that into their product, and there is ease of management because of that. So
it's all about making it easier for the end users and the admins.
Yep.
Best technology is always going to win out.
Yep.
And then how did the company modernize or transform when COVID first hit?
So yeah, actually, I consider us extremely lucky. When COVID hit, we were actually moving away from Cisco Smart Telecom, telephony, and we were moving to Vonage, which is telephony as a service in the cloud. And well, you remember you actually helped us get that deal.
Yeah, that was really good timing.
yeah, really good. I mean, it's so that deal saved us about $200,000 a year annually.
Yep. Made Will pretty happy.
yeah, they were happy. I was just chuckling because I said a year annually.
Oh yeah.
So I did a grammatical thing.
Oh, don't worry. I say much worse every day. Trust me.
But yeah, so $200,000 a year, and then also we were planning to roll out that product March 14th, 2020. And of course, that was right before everything shut down.
Yeah.
And maybe March 14th wasn't the exact date, but it was somewhere in there.
It was the 16th.
It was 16th? Okay.
Yeah, that was the final
whatever the Monday
live
was.
day. Yeah,
whatever the Monday was. And so we were all ready. You know, we had the documentation ready. We were ready to switch. We were ready to walk people through using like smartphones. I mean soft phones. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then everything shut down. Everybody had to work from home, and we're like, we're ready for
Perfect
this.
time. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So it was, I consider us very fortunate, because having Vonage, and the having done the preparation for the soft phones, made everything so much easier with people working from home. We had also just recently upgraded our VPN, from Juniper to Palo Alto, and so that also, if we hadn't done that, I think we would have had problems with the load with everybody working from home. But because we upgraded just within the last month or two, it was no problem.
I mean, lucky or blessed, depending on how you ask.
Yeah, I would say blessed.
Or who I mean, that's astronomical. Because I mean, some of my clients and some folks I know, when COVID hit, they were literally going to headquarters and shipping actual desktops and phones just to get them out and getting them in people's hands because they didn't have the soft phone capabilities, and it was a crazy hectic nightmare.
Yep.
And can you tell me a little bit more about the culture about Interstate Batteries? One of my favorite things is, you go to the front desk. Well, they know my name. That's a rare thing. That they don't call me Nick. They call me Topping. Like Adelaide at the front desk reception. But I mean, the minute I walk through the door, it feels like home.
Yeah. No, they definitely have a good culture, and they work hard to maintain it. It's a faith-based company. So, and when I say that, what I mean is, the founder, John Searcy, passed away, but the kind of co-founder and who is still chairman of the board is Norm Miller. And Norm Miller is a very, well-known preacher, so to speak. He's a well-known speaker, I guess is a better word, and actually was a part of the I Am Second movement. I don't know if you've heard of that, but basically he and some other people, but mainly him, had this, idea that they would start this movement called I Am Second that would kind of share how everything kind of just works better if you realize that you yourself are not the most important thing. Yep. Others are more important. God's more important. So, so he's the foundation kind of, and his son Scott Miller is also a Christian and is influenced by his dad, and so it carries down, trickles down to the rest of the company, and we have our purpose and values that we hold everybody to, and it's one of the only companies that I've seen where they have this stuff and they actually follow through with it. It's not just propaganda or something that they, like a check mark that they have to do. They actually do it, and you can tell in the way that they treat people, and the way that they carry themselves. So
that's a rare, beautiful thing, because there are so many companies with so many. I mean, just name the initiative where they'll put out a post on LinkedIn, or they'll support a cause when it's a favorable season or if it's just popular, but they don't actually follow through and do actions, which is one of the most important things.
Yeah, and you know what else I would say is that even though I like to say it's a faith-based company rather than a Christian company, because you definitely don't have to be a Christian to work there. I mean, I work with Muslims and atheists and all different people from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
But all of those people have the same values, and understand that the right way to live is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, at the root of it. So there's not, even though they're Christian, I think it's better to say that they're faith-based. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think that would solve a lot of the issues we have with society, because it seems like so many people, they just put themselves first instead of others.
mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a good golden rule. But I mean, maybe I'm biased or the opposite of rose-tinted glasses, but there's so many things I see, social media, the news, it's just so many people it's all about them.
Yep.
And it's just, the worship of themselves is really not a good thing. Like,
Right. And you get a lot of people that are, very tolerant and accepting of everybody, but then they're intolerant of the people that aren't accepting or tolerant of some other people. So then they become hypocrites because
Exactly.
they're accepting. They say that they're accepting everybody, but they're really not.
Yeah.
So it's just a fine line, and I feel like people, and that was just one example, but
Oh, yeah.
I feel like people overall, if they would put themselves in the other person's shoes, just for a few seconds,
Yeah.
the world would be a better place. So
I absolutely agree. So I always joke if I was ever president for a day, or I would say, everyone should work at least, the summer in a retail job, like growing up, because you get to kind of see the other side of the countertop, so to say, and you get to learn a lot about human basic interactions and just treating people nicely. It's almost funny. You can almost tell when, there's like an incident at a mall, or well, I guess they don't have those anymore, but, at the Walmart or the checkout, and someone's freaking out and, berating the cashier, you just tell, like, that person hasn't been in the other situation. Like,
Right.
they've never had a customer irate with them.
yeah,
Or, like, that was one of my first jobs, being a cashier at Cinemark, where I learned a lot of things, especially how to treat people, and
yep,
a lot of real world experiences.
yep, I agree.
And then what do you like to do outside of work?
Various things. I mean, I mainly hang out with my wife. We watch a lot of TV, just whatever series that we're in watching. I mean, right now, we were watching The Closer, and then that changed to Major Crime. So that's what we've been watching lately. It could be anything. We went to see Thor: Love and Thunder last night.
Oh, nice. How was it?
It was good, and I thought, I mean, the music was really good for me because I'm an old man,
Yeah.
and that's some old man music. And I thought, I'm surprised that the younger generation likes this because this is music from when I was their age. So
What music was it?
it was Guns N' Roses.
Oh, that's great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I say.
Yeah.
But I mean, reality is that for kids growing up in the 2020s,
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, that would be the equivalent of like the Beatles or
Yeah.
the Beach Boys, which I thought it was all right, but
Yeah.
it wasn't what I was into. So.
No.
But yeah,
I mean, those are some of my favorite bands in the 70s. We got Aerosmith and the Beatles, but like I grew up with my parents where every time you have dinner, they would, say, or we would actually play a different CD, which some of the listeners might not know what that is, but that's how they used to store music. And so we would grow up with like Beethoven, Bach, you had, Beatles. So it's pretty diverse. And yeah, I wish more movies had some of the classical composers like that. But I don't know, maybe it just doesn't sell, or the market is too niche. But I think 70s nostalgia is always a good comeback. But Guns N' Roses, that's pretty solid classic.
yeah. I mean, that's early to mid 90s, so it's not. I mean, I guess the first Guns N' Roses came out in late 80s, really, but it's. I mean, that's still 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think it's that long ago, but it is. So, for kids, like I grew up in the 80s, so that would be like music from the 50s.
Yeah.
From when I was growing up. So,
Like Louis Armstrong and a couple of those guys.
I'm not familiar with much music from the 50s, really, but
It's funny though. Every couple of years, what was modern is now classic. Like I know some people are calling like Blink-182 and Green Day like classics.
they're
And, like,
20 years old now.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah, it is. I still drive my 95 Corolla, and that's a classic.
Yeah. Well, those things are bulletproof. I mean, how many miles are on that thing and it's still running smoothly?
306,000 miles. I wouldn't say smoothly. It's a clunker now.
Oh wow, 306,000.
Yep.
That's a damn good return on investment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah, it's got some issues, but it still gets me from point A to point B, and that's what I care about. So.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I'm guessing it uses an Interstate Battery too.
Yeah, it sure does.
There you go. Does it say Interstate Batteries, or is it OEM'd?
It says Interstate because I actually went to the Interstate store and got it. And that's another. I mean, there are many perks of being an Interstate Batteries employee, but one of them is you get a free battery every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a refurb battery, but they've tested it and made sure it's okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. So.
Well, plus it's infinitely recyclable. It's kind of like aluminum cans in terms of they're infinitely recyclable, like lead acid batteries. A lot of people don't know that's like half of Interstate Batteries is helping remanufacture them and bring them back to life.
Yeah, a big part of Interstate Batteries is the lead recycling business. Um, I can't remember the exact stat, but I know that we're like in the top 5 of the world for lead recyclers. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's we do a lot of lead recycling.
That's a lot.
Yep.
It helps the environment. Means you don't have to dig any new lead up as well.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's toxic, so
Oh, yeah, but
better to recycle than to
dig up more.
use more of it. So
Yeah.
but
I was a little disappointed. I popped the hood on my Honda, and I just got the general Honda. You know, it says Honda on the battery. But I remember you were saying it's OEM by Interstate. I was like, and I was at the Honda dealership to get a new one, and they were saying I told them I want the Interstate one. They're like, well, we don't have the green top, but it's made by Interstate. I'm like, oh, I was a little disappointed. I wanted the green top.
yeah.
It matched my green Honda. I mean, it's perfect branding.
Yeah.
It's a great logo. And have you gotten? I remember you saying you and wife like to travel. Have you gone anywhere fun recently?
We all I can think of is what we have planned. I'm trying to think of what we just did. Seems like we went somewhere. But what we have planned is we're going to Key West, Florida.
Oh,
And
really?
so we'll actually we'll leave for there July 17th, and we'll go for a week. And we've got a house sitter, and so we know our cow will be fine.
There you go.
But you know, we're gonna go and do some snorkeling and be beach bums and just kind of relax. And it was someplace we've never been, so should be interesting.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful place to be. You
Yep.
excited to see maybe the coral reefs, or where in particular you're going to go snorkeling?
Yeah, we're hoping to see. I don't remember what the name of the reef is that is down there, but there is a big one that you can go see. So, yeah, we're gonna do that, and then you know, just hang out on the beach and have drinks and do a little sightseeing. So, my wife is the one who plans these trips. I just
Oh,
I
really?
just show up with my suitcase. So,
Oh, there you go. Even easier, just hop in the plane and go.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, bud. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank
Thanks.
you for having me.
Thanks, David. Appreciate
All right.
you. Thanks for everyone listening. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Share with your enemies. Share with your neighbors. Heck, share with anyone. But thank you so much for listening. You all stay safe. Have a great day. Topping Talks.